Hey, Jordan here. Got another great question. Appreciate all the questions lately. What do we do when we find ourselves in a low frequency? We're having an off day. What can we do to direct our minds to get us back on track? I would say the first thing is that you have to understand this is all a part of the seasons of life. There's going to be times when you're ahead and times when you're behind. I love studying things like the I Ching or Tarot. These are different archetypes of patterns of the universe. And in these archetypes, they describe different moments that can happen in the pattern. And some patterns naturally are just not going to work out. Sometimes it's just not your day, and that is perfectly fine. If you think of it in the creative sense, for some reason this is popping in my head, think of the creative sense, you're trying to grow flowers. Some days you'll plant seeds and it's going to be shit and nothing will grow. But this planting of the shit becomes the fertilizer for the flower a week from now or a month from now, however long it takes. Any day you show up and you try and create, try and do your best, some days it's just not going to work out and it's going to be shit, and that shit is the fertilizer that will grow your efforts in the future. And without you showing up and putting forth that effort and adding that fertilizer, the seed would have nothing to feed off of and it wouldn't grow. So remember, cyclically, there's a time to be ahead and a time to be behind. And so two things that we can do when this happens, when we're behind. First thing is don't take it personally. And the second thing is always do your best. We can apply both these concepts regardless of what the outside world looks like, whether we just lost a job, got in a car accident, broke up in a relationship, whatever the situation may be where we feel like we're just behind and everything's falling apart. We can use the ability to not take it personally, and we can always do our best. So let's look at not taking it personally. Sometimes we don't want to take the advice from others, and sometimes we don't want to take our own advice. We can be very quick to give advice to other people, but when it comes time to receive this said advice, it's a little more difficult. Unless we consciously make the decision that we need some advice, and we're ready and we're open to receive it. So we get in that state where we're ready to receive. Think of what advice would you give yourself if you were talking to someone else? Meaning, what would you say to somebody in your situation? What things would you point out that they could apply? What could they look at that they could apply to their own life and that you could apply to your own life in your own situation? Like, let's use the you've just lost your job example. If someone lost their job, it's funny, when you don't take things personal, even if it's just for a little bit, we can get a much clearer picture about what's going on without all the emotional attachments and feeling like taking it all personal, taking that on ourselves and getting in a funk. And maybe it's good, maybe that can be applied so that we can change our behavior in the future. but it can also make us get stuck. So let's say we lost our jobs. Let's say your neighbor lost their job, would that affect you in any way? Would that upset you? Would it make you go into a tailspin and lower your frequency? Probably not, because you are detached. You're not taking it personal, what they're going through, what their situation is. You're not taking it on. And so you can, with a clear, objective perspective, you can offer them advice about their situation and what they could do. Maybe they can go apply for more jobs. Maybe they can go ask friends and family if anybody's hiring. Maybe they can start working on their own business that they want to do. There's a lot of different options always for life. There's endless options. And so how could you apply that objective perspective onto yourself without taking it personal, without getting all upset and going into an emotional tailspin that ultimately doesn't serve you? It's hard to get yourself up and going when you're riddled with guilt, shame, and apathy, whatever it may be. We have all these lower energies. It's hard to get yourself back in the game and start taking action in the correct direction when you're all stuck in your head and taking everything personal. So the next thing, once you get clear on whatever direction you want to go, whatever advice you would give to somebody in your situation, apply that to yourself. The next thing you can do is do your best. We can always do our best regardless of the situation. And your best might be a complete failure. Like I said in the beginning, you have to show up sometimes and just try your best sometimes and not get worried about the fruits of your labor. You just have to show up, throw some shit onto the pile, and once that accumulates enough, then you have enough fertilizer and soil so that the seed can actually grow. So doing your best requires no insistence on the outcome. You're just doing your best for the sake of doing your best, for its own reward. And the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So if everything you're doing in your life, you're doing your best, there will begin to be a transformation. There will be a change. And some days your best will be an A. And some days your best will be an F in the grading hierarchy. And wherever you land on that spectrum, some days that's just what it is. It is part of the cycle. It is part of the pattern that every day isn't going to be a complete, perfect, knock it out the park day. Some days you're going to struggle and you're going to fail. But you can still offer yourself to be of service to the whole. That's how I look at it. I look at everything in this world, in this universe, in this reality as a part of me. It's all an aspect of my capital S self. So I'm being in service to the trees, to the people, the animals, the earth. It's all an offering of my service. I'm putting myself out there, doing my best, giving my all to whatever I'm doing. At least I can try when I'm conscious, when I'm not slipping into an unconscious behavior, I can consciously make that offering. And then there's no expectation of a result. There's no expectation of anything in return. I can just make that offering to the collective, which is myself in the broader sense of the term. And I'm doing what I can. I'm doing my best. and not being worried about how it's received or how it's not received, how it all plays out. That is not what I can control. I really can't control any of the outcomes. I can't control any of the results. I can notice what works and improve upon that, and slowly my results may get better, but that is not my initial best. My initial best is just doing what I can with what I have and not worrying about if it is a 10 out of 10, it might be a 1 out of 10. So that is something that I can always control. And it kind of ties in with the not taking anything personal. So these two things, when applied, will get you through any situation, any negative state. It's not forever. It could be days, weeks, might even be years, but it is certainly not forever. Whatever lower frequency, things aren't going your way kind of energy you find yourself in, you can take ownership of it, not try and push it away, realize it's just a momentary aspect of this life that you're living, and do your best. Don't take it personal. That will always lead you into the direction of doing things that ultimately will raise your frequency. You can fall back on lifestyle choices. You gotta move, you gotta eat good food, you gotta meditate, you gotta be creative. These are the 4 things that I do every day to move me in the right direction, to get that momentum going that I can rely on to push me through in this life. So I hope you got some insights from that. You can check out my website if you'd like to work further one-on-one. Otherwise, I love you. Have a great day.